the consumption stocks, they tend to do very good right now. But what's really happening within the IT space, and what's happening within the sector? What's the latest that we are gathering with respect to the US markets and Gen AI? Let's understand more on that in detail. We are being joined by Mr. Joseph Anantharaju, who is the co-chairman and CEO of Happiest Minds Tech, joining us on the show. A very good morning and thank you so much for your time. And firstly, I have to ask you about what's the impact of tariff on the IT industry, because of late there has been a lot of concerns that what it could really do to some of these overseas markets, the impact on the discretionary spending. Why don't you give us a better sense there that what's happening within the sector? Quarter to quarter, what sort of a performance and what sort of a deal flow is the sector having right now?
Sure. Thanks for having me. Before I was in India in July for a board meeting, and before I left and during our earnings call also, I'd shared with some of your colleagues that the overall sentiment in US was, we kind of figured out that the tariffs will be on off and things will kind of stabilize, and that was being factored into how people are beginning to look at their budgets and make decisions. I think some of the announcements that were made in late July and early August, which seemed to deviate from take a step forward and step back, that seemed to have made people a little cautious. But from our vantage point, if you look at Happiest Minds, I think the areas that we are playing more on analytics, AI, automation, we've not seen as much of an impact or any pullback on spending. And at a broader level, at an IT services market, I'm hoping and expecting that in the next month or 2 months, some of these tariff-related issues, because customers are looking for certainty, right? And I'm hoping that, with this latest round and maybe one more round of negotiation, we'll arrive at a point where, there's a little bit more certainty and stability, which I think would really help everybody involved.
That's right. Joseph, hi, good morning. Mansee this side, and Happiest Minds has completed 14 years today as a company. So many congratulations, greetings to you.
Thank you.
And we wish you more such promising and successful years going ahead. But having said so, with the global buzz around generative AI, many Indian companies, Indian IT companies, hasn't yet translated this into a material revenue. What is the status of Happiest Minds here, and also how the company is planning to train their employees on AI, and what would be your advice to the budding youngsters who wish to enter into the field like this?
Sure. So thanks for the congratulations and wishes for Happiest Minds, Mansee. I really appreciate that. If I look back 14 years on this day, we started the company and where we are now, it fills me with a sense of gratitude and to both our people and our customers. Now, if you look at Gen AI, as we are the only company that has a separate business unit for Gen AI, and we've taken a very strategic view to this whole space. And I'm really happy with pleased with the progress that we made from last year to this year, because last year was more around doing POCs, helping customers with conceptualizing some of the use cases that would make sense for them. And this year, we are seeing some of that getting translated into production level implementations, into larger implementations and more revenue. And our expectation is that this year we'll more than double our pure Gen AI based revenue. And I'm leaving out AI because I think several companies tend to conflate AI and Gen AI. So if you look at between AI and Gen AI, our revenues would be much more than 5 million. It would be closer to 20 or $25 million, right? So I think that's a positive. And what the approach we've taken is there are 2-3 things that we're doing. I'll come to more on the productivity side, because I think that's also a huge opportunity, if you ask me. So we've looked at the use case from a horizontal and vertical standpoint and come up with a list of use cases that would make sense for customers across industries that would be horizontal. For instance, if you're doing something in the legal side or on invoicing. That would more or less be, or on the HR side. That would be across industries, and those we look at as horizontal use cases. And then vertical use case would be specific to an industry. In EdTech, maybe a virtual tutor. In healthcare or pharma space, it could be a use case that would allow companies to quickly do their FDA submission. So we've put a list of these use cases that we evangelize with customers and see what makes sense. And we're seeing a good uptick out here. We're also looking at how do we build some components which would be 40-50% ready for some of these use cases, so that you're able to quickly implement these solutions for your customers. On the productivity side, whether it's Copilot, Cursor, and other tools, what we believe is that end of the day, you need to see how we can add value to your customers. And we are looking at how do we go help our customers to understand which tools to use, what processes need to be tweaked, what is the change management you need to do with your people, what are the metrics you need to monitor to see if the adoption of these tools are being done properly, and we can help them with implementing these recommendations. That's the approach that we are taking. And in terms of recommendation to the youngsters, I would say that you need to really dirty your hands. You need to make sure that you learn these tools, you apply them, and because this is the way. You just have to accept that all of these tools will get adopted. Some companies may do it a little earlier, some a little later. But there's productivity gains to be had. But more importantly, your quality and your time to market would be much better. And I think it really would behoove them to learn these tools and to apply them as well and be ready.
Joseph, firstly, congratulations on completing 14 years from my side as well, and the entire team. But Joseph, to ask you about the next 14 years will be a little too much, because given the kind of rapid change that we are seeing in the tech sector. But to the point of Gen AI that you were making, I see that you now get almost 2.3% of your overall revenue from Gen AI division, which is growing at a double digit for you. But Joseph, give us some sense in the next 2 to 3 years, where do you see the revenue contribution from Gen AI inching up? Can we expect that to head into a double digit from these levels?
So, Srishti, thanks again for your wishes. If you look at Gen AI, I like to look at it from, two perspectives. The first is the direct revenue contribution that Gen AI would make, and the second is indirect. And I think the direct contribution, our expectation is that in the next 3 years, it'll get closer to double digits, right? Will it get there? We'll have to see at what pace the adoption, will be done by the industry. But what we're also seeing is that, whenever there's a Gen AI use case that's being implemented, there's a lot of pull-through revenue that happens, because for Gen AI to be implemented, customers need to make sure that all of their data is together, that the data is cleaned up, that there's a governance model put in on data. And there's also, your UI and consumption related activities that need to be done. And all of these are pull-through revenues. I think between all of them, my expectation is in 3 years, the impact of Gen AI would be 15% or more of the company's revenue if you put all of these activities together.
That's right. Joseph, also now talking about the forward-looking approach for the business, Happiest Mind has been in the industry for so many years, 14 years to be precise. Company is performing really well. But any large deals that the company has signed over the last few months, or any deal that is in the works at present?
Yes. I think one of the areas that we've been focused on, and we talked about some of the transformations that we are putting in place. One is on verticalization, and the other one is on, looking at how do we maximize our revenue and wallet share and high potential accounts. And this is something that, they go hand in hand. The structural change has enabled this. And what we are seeing is that there are both, and the third thing that we did was to create an NN sales team that would look at how do we get large deals off the bat. And we are seeing an increase in some of the large deal pipeline. And as we speak, we have at least 3 or 4 deals that are multi-million dollars to just start off with. Because traditionally we've looked at a land and expand strategy, but this is a kind of a shift that we made as we look at how do we get from $250 million to $1 billion in the next 7 years. And it's encouraging to see that we have more of these large deals that are entering into the pipeline. Now, what we need to do is to make sure that we convert them and ensure that we execute on them.
Indeed, and we will watch out for that, Joseph. But with this, we let you go, and thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us.
Thank you, Srishti and Mansee. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. But with this, viewers, let's move on.